Again by Juan O'Savin. We're going to have Josh Reed come in here and join us in a little bit.
Hello, everybody. It's Michael Jaco with Unleashing Intuition Secret.
But as you see, Juan's got an unusual view. Usually he has like spectacular views, but this time we thought we'd mix it up a little bit and get
Yeah.
the dumpster dive view.
Yeah, just checking to see what's going on here. We're doing some little dumpster diving here. I heard, look, a lot of these Democrats are trying to hide out right now. Did you see what they're doing to Polis in Colorado? Because he let Tina out. Let's see if he's in here. No, they've already escaped.
Uh,
Nothing in there. Okay. Because he commuted Tina's sentence to time served plus 3 years on parole. Oh my gosh. The Democrats have decided that he can no longer be given any awards. He cannot appear at any Democrat function.
wow.
He is persona non grata, anything to do with the Democrat Party. So, as the Democrat governor of Colorado, he's completely ostracized from anything to do with the party. They can't have an event, a convention. They can't award him for, doing something nice in the world. Nothing. He is out. And but that'll go for so long, and you have to understand the context of that. So he actually talked with Trump numerous times while they were trying to work through this. Trump was saying, release her, release her, release her. And he's saying, look, if I do, it's problematic this way and I can't do that. So this agreement to get Tina free by commuting the sentence, yeah, he knew that Trump was coming. He had kind of gotten, if it's not done by the end of the month of May, then we're coming in a different way. And I was aware of what was potentially going to happen there. We were saying take extreme measures. You said you would. It's too long. It's too much. And so he responded to that. And still, they said by the end of the month, he still waits till the end of the month before she gets to get out. So she's got to do this extra 2 more weeks in prison while they're, working the problem to get her free. So anyway, that's kind of the routine. And by the way, we'll be honoring Tina in some unique, interesting ways at the event there in mid-June.
Oh, good.
That is shaping up to be something stunning. And anybody in the audience that's thinking about it, you better think fast. Showing the movie Dark Horse, world premiere of the movie. Normally, they don't like to do it anywhere except a theater where it can be the best. So I actually had to go secure a proper LED screen, high resolution screen,
Wow.
24 foot by 12 something high, and for the Ahern, and so it'll show the movie properly. It'll actually do what needs to be done for this movie to make it present the way it needs to be presented. Awesome sound. I mean, we got Edward Bolsonaro's committed, the son of the president of Brazil. It's the movie's about. He is going to be at our event speaking. The producers, all the key people that are involved in this, getting this out to the world. Hollywood doesn't want a movie like this to be presented. They don't like it. But so one of the big, monster groups that put out the media that we see, movies, television, things like that, approached the person that's running the marketing thing. And by the way, this is the person that Mel Gibson says is the best in the business. Probably 30 billion in sales, of movies and television like that he's personally promoted. Nobody else is even in the same category. Jim Caviezel says this is his best acting role that he's, performance that he's been able to do so far from his skill set. So this is a big deal on this movie. If you like Sound of Freedom, you're going to like this movie.
Absolutely.
But the interesting thing about it is that make sure this goes away. My chief of staff trying to reach me. Within what this movie is the whole theme though about election fraud and elections. At the conference, we're going to have the people that actually briefed Tulsi, briefed Homeland Security, briefed the president's people around the president, all the way back even in 2024, coming up in the election, exactly how this is being done. And so they'll be presenting at the conference. That's on day 3. It's going to be epic. I mean, it's going to be fantastic. So, you'll get a hell of a treat if you get to be there. So anyway,
That's great because when Bolsonaro was running, I was covering his election. I covered his his presidency and so forth, and a lot of the Brazilians came in into my show and so forth, and were very they loved it. They were like so glad that I was informing the American public, and then when he had those problems, they were even more generous and very thankful for just telling everybody what was going on, because like you said, the press, it just destroys this. They don't cover it at all. So this movie, I think, has incredible potential to inform a lot of people. It's going to be great.
Well, I've got several people coming up from Brazil that
good.
will be there for the premiere. What happened was the trailer that was just a rough cut version of what they wanted to do for a trailer got leaked in Brazil from somebody. And then other people took it and added music that they liked and pumped it out. So it got loose here in the U.S. This non-authorized, not the real movie trailer. It got 3 million views in one day.
Wow.
In Brazil, it's had 30 million views in like a week. And so it's like, oh my God. And it's not even the official one. So that kind of gives you a zone of how much people are anticipating this. And by the way, we tried to pull that trailer that's not the real trailer down. I asked people that had put it out, if you just pull back, we'll have probably the official trailer within the next couple of days. And part of the reason that's actually important, there's music that was scored for this movie that's beautiful. The music that these people put out on the non-official version is beautiful. There's no, it was a very good choice. So the people that did it had their heart in the right place. So I'm not throwing any stones at them. They didn't really know what was going on, that this was just a leaked version or whatever. But the people that did the music side, that they want to promote, they don't want people thinking that that's the correct music that goes with the real movie. And then the other thing is, if you remember back to Sound of Freedom, the version that I showed in Vegas and then other places around the country with Jim and like that, that was the director's cut. Mel Gibson took what they had and then did the cut that he believed was correct for the movie. That's what people saw in Vegas. It was amazing. When they did the one that was released out to the public, it was 14 minutes shorter. And yes, I get it. They tighten things up here and there and stuff like that. I personally preferred the director's cut. It was just that I didn't mind the extra length. They wanted to make it work for theater owners and timing, and it's very regimented like that. And so they did that from an industry standpoint. It wasn't my favorite version. That extra 14 minutes gives you all sorts of little details that you actually need, as far as I'm concerned. So then you have to view what we're going to see with Dark Horse is the editor's cut, the director's cut, I should say. We'll have the directors there. There's directors of different parts of what goes together in a movie and producers. And so they're going to be there and they'll explain some of their thoughts before and after Edward Bolsonaro, all these other things. Yeah, it's going to be amazing. So, you know, and look, I found one of the Democrats hiding behind the dumpster. Oh my gosh, he thought he could get away with it. Yeah, right. Hide in a snowsuit in the middle of summer. Hello. Sheesh. These guys, sneaky, man. I'm talking sneaky.
Joe Biden would be proud.
Yeah. Yeah. Instead of dark horse, he has I love dark beer. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's funny. Democrats hiding in plain sight. Anyway, and it's a clown, right? It says it's a snow clown. Not just any clown, it's a snow clown, man.
Perfect.
Anyway, just by the way, you know, we have the coin, the Tina Peters coin, the classic. And once she's released, we're switching into the colorized version. So that's a limited run. When we get to the end of that, that's done. So that's only a few days away. If anybody's interested, that's going to be a lot of fun.
And those are very reasonably priced.
Oh yeah.
When silver really takes off, you're going to look back and go, like, I have the coins that you initially came out with. I'm like, wow, those are way more.
Well, remember, they're not, you know, you look at the silver spot price, you can get junk silver, which is like only 75 or 80% silver, even the stuff pre-64.
Yeah.
But these are, a particular grade that's the next higher grade, I forget what they call it, and not just the circulated silver. So they're prepared differently, and like that, the ones, the double eagles of the treasury ones are priced at like 180 or 185 right now. Then you still have to pay shipping, and that is the same type of grade, the polish and all that, is what we have. We're $40 under that. So, you know, it's actually a great deal. And then the Treasury doesn't have them available. They say out of stock.
They're unavailable. I just looked. I just did a show with my silver and gold guy, and I brought that up.
Oh, they're proof quality. Proof quality is what it's called. Go ahead.
Yeah. So, I mean, your coins are like phenomenal. They're, you know, proof quality. They're beautiful coins.
Well, the other thing,
they're packaged really well, nice, really nice.
The other thing that's really fun about them is that, you know, all of the coins are part of kind of a story about this era and time. You know, people get trinkets, they get hats and shirts and all sorts of things. But 10, 20, 30 years from now, when the kids are around and they're asking, what was it like? What was it all about? What were the key things? Having some of these as kind of touchstones to tell the story. And then because they have real value and it'll be going up, they're not going anywhere. People keep them as keepsakes like that. I think it has more effect out in the future. I'm really not doing them precisely for exactly this moment in time. I'm doing it for the kids and grandkids that will look at this later and want to understand what this moment was about. Because we're living through a hinge point in history that is so amazing, so unique. And we get to be here, seriously. I mean, and even down the road, you know, this conference we're doing, you know, you're going to get to rub shoulders. They don't go sit in the great room. You don't see them. All the speakers like that, they want to hear everybody else also. They'll be right there in the crowd. You know, you saw what happens in the conference, like what we did with the Bond conference, and it'll be very much like that. You'll be able to rub shoulders with very like-minded people. You know, most of the people going there have something going that they're intricately involved in somehow in this moment in history. So I have it's going to be well worth it for the folks that can make it. And then, by the way, I do understand there's a lot of people that can't go logistically. They got family, kids, job, etc., and they can't make it. The movie is, you know, obviously we can't put that out to the world. that is totally private. But the next 2 days, the stuff on the financial frauds and then stuff on the election frauds, which is Tuesday and Wednesday, all of that's going to be out there live streamed and out there for free. So if you can't make it, you can still see everything that's there. So no charge or no ticket, nothing like that. And even on the expense for coming, I cut a super sharp pencil on this when we priced it at $350. That was before we had the movie coming. That was before we decided to do expand to the larger thing on Wednesday night when I was going into the mechanics of the fraud, the math and everything else. Well, at the end of the day, we hadn't planned on doing that. And what happened was it just kind of grew a couple extra heads. Everybody was coming, wanted to hear all the details of what the White House was briefed and the attorneys and like that, the intricacies, because this is a different crowd. They're not really observers. A lot of these people need to go back and themselves present within the political community or things like that. So,
and you're going to have Nino MC, and you're going to have the three amigos there for the first time together. Well, not the first time. We were together with the last movie, actually.
Sound Afraid of Bad.
Right there next to the stage, pictures. That's going to be another, value added. You're going to be.
Oh my God!
And there's a good chance I might be there.
Well, you know what?
You're going to be there. Oh, we're hoping.
Josh. Oh yeah. You know what we got to do? Nino doesn't know this. Somewhere in there, when we first get Nino out there, we ought to have the whole crowd, Nino, 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 and do hand wringing at the same time. Oh my gosh, we could have so much fun with Nino on that one.
Poor Nino.
And we got to get Tina to join in on it. That'll be good.
Yeah. So, and by the way, the reason that Nino is emceeing, originally Joe Hoff was going to MC. He had a stroke a couple weeks ago. He and I had dinner a few days earlier there in Florida where he lives. And then I was shocked. But he had his wherewithal enough. He realized he's getting dressed in the morning. He was having a stroke. His son helps him finish getting dressed. He has a preteen son. He goes to his car, gets in his car, his right side, right arm, right leg don't work. So he drives himself left hand, left leg for foot for gas pedal and brake, gets most of the way to the hospital. I guess emergency services found him and they took him the rest of the way, but they were able to bring him back enough. He got released from the hospital on Saturday. They were initially planning on doing it, at the end of the month, but he was doing so well. And he still got recovery to do with hand use for like typing or writing on his right hand, but his legs back all the way. He has no cognitive issues and all that. But having him come all the way out to Vegas to MC and like that wasn't happening. So we had a couple other people, but it was late notice. Laura Logan, she had a commitment in Europe. We had a couple other fantastic people. So Nino was like choice 4, but I got to tell you though, things have a way of happening for a reason. Yeah. I actually think, Nino, the boxer, his history, he emceed fights.
That's right.
I mean, we're in a hell of a fight. It's the Fraud Fighters Conference. Yeah. Things happen for a reason, but I actually think it's exactly what it was supposed to be.
He'll be there. He's an opposing presence. He's a heavyweight champion. And out of a man, he's going to be, and he's got a great voice. It's going to be great. It's going to be fun.
Well, I just think things have a way of coming together. I'm doing all the meals. So Monday night, there's a full meal dinner. The Ahern gets awards for its catering. It's one of the top catering systems in the Vegas area. And then breakfast, lunch, dinner, full breakfast, not just a continental with a biscuit or something, a real breakfast, lunch, dinner, top drawer, both Tuesday and Wednesday. And my logic is this, people leave, they go get lunch, they go get dinner, whatever, they go get coffee, etc. Everything is right there in the Ahern, and we're providing the meal for $350. We're going to get 2 meals for $350, let alone 7.
Oh yeah.
And top drawer, and then you don't have to go anywhere. And then people tend to sit together, talk, enjoy themselves. And the other thing is, I could pack this thing out with theater seating. I didn't do that. Where it's all with the tables, what they call a classroom seating. So you got a place to put your notebook, your freaking, you can eat it at the thing, and actually eat like a human, have them put it on your lap or something. It's the kind of seating that is just allows people to interact more and enjoy each other and like that, as opposed to just be jammed together. I could get way more people, and that's why we have a cutoff on the number. And we're pretty close. We're within about 75 of that cutoff right now. So it's closing real tight. And then there's just no extra room. We tried to have them take, and they agreed to take out that bar in the middle of the floor. And then at the last minute, it didn't happen. I was just there yesterday and we were working through it. So we came up with what we feel is still going to be proper for the movie and like that. And we took about 3 hours laying out the whole thing. So speakers and all that, because there's so much logistics, power, speakers, cameras, the whole schmear that, is unique to our situation. So anyway, it's going to be great. But Josh is one of my favorite people. Let me just say this, and I mentioned to your audience the other day, Jaco, Michael, that there's very few people within, let's say, the cue drops, as well as the subtle messaging that this president is using to communicate with the public. They put subtle messaging in to brand certain things. If you're paying attention, it's like what happens in the intelligence services. Most things just go right by everybody, but you may have a subtle hand signal, flash of something, put the tape on the telephone pole sideways if you want one response, and upside down, reversed, whatever, if you want a different response. That's what this administration is doing. As far as being able to those things out of the static, out of the clutter, and then make them make sense. I don't really think there's anybody that is any better, let alone even holds a candle to the stuff that Josh has consistently seen, explained, brought out to the public. And so, I enjoy that I can say, this is somebody that, he warrants listening to. If he's got something to say, I listen, because he has that level of perception. And a lot of times, some of these things, not everybody gets read in up front. So you kind of got to be able to pick these things out as you go. I'm pretty good, but Josh, I have to tighten up my shoelaces. I got to, make sure I got the right socks on and all that just to keep up with them. So, and I'm not just saying that for fun. I fluff. I really do believe that, Josh. It's fun to get to share the podium with you.
Yeah.
Oh, Juan, you're awesome.
That's one of the things that I noticed as well. I did a show with them, just a few days ago, really. And I was like, Josh, how do you get your background? And he's telling me, I was like, dang, you are natural. You're
well,
like,
by the way, Josh, you weren't on the air, but I found a clown Democrat hiding behind this dumpster. Okay. The Democrats are on the run. This one here, we found him.
I'm sure he's registered to vote.
Yeah, well, see, look, he's thin. He's all whatever, but he's very thin. It's a clown Democrat hiding behind the dumpster here in the alley while I was getting the news.
He donated $58,000 to Act Blue and voted in the last 4 elections.
Yeah, he got a loan on his house for $300 million that he paid $100,000 for last week.
Exactly.
Yeah, which is true. You know what? In the Fraud Fighters Conference, we have one of the greatest guys, Sean Taylor, who is finding these magic mortgages. Literally, these guys buy a house, they go to the bank, and they get a loan. They pay $100,000 for the house and get a loan for $300 million. How are they funding all of these campaigns and other bullshit? That's
Well,
how.
Juan, it's kind of interesting that you said that because if everybody remembers the active shooter situation that occurred in New York City during the first year of Trump's administration, 2025,
Yeah.
remember the person was heading up to the NFL floor of the skyscraper and they just stopped off at Goldman Sachs and shot one person who happened to be the senior vice president who is in charge of all deeds and mortgages in the United States of America? At the same
Uh-huh.
time that Act Blue was coming
Yes.
under investigation? I mean, come
Oh my
on. What are the
God.
coincidences? And here's the key is that the large financial institutions are in on it.
Yes.
So
Yes.
it is a fraud to
Frustrating.
do exactly what Juan's saying, to go get one mortgage and then take out 3, 4, 5 mortgages at an overpriced value. But what was happening is these large banks and financial institutions make them disappear.
Yes. Yes. It's just, I had to get a new key for my Bentley. Now I see they got the seats out. I'm like, oh my gosh, they're just making an extra key. So I'll stay here watching the Democrats so he doesn't get away in the meantime. I haven't gotten to hear what you've had to say recently on any of the goings on. So maybe you could bring me up to speed, Josh. I've been traveling pretty hard. In fact, I have to leave the country here very shortly here. I'm back to Asia on something that's crucial, but I'm as anxious to hear your latest take on stuff as some of the listeners probably are, and then maybe I can chime in.
Yeah, no, I mean, like right now we're coming to a conclusion, I believe, of the Iran war, which really wasn't the Iran, it's the old British imperial system's economic grip
Speak it,
on
brother.
the world.
That's exactly right, man. Those freaking trolls are there, right there at the passageway, taking their cut every single time. Yeah,
The Iran terror premium. That's
Yeah.
through Lloyd's of London and the derivatives bankers out of London, the Rothschild banks. One of the interesting things that I did see recently is that due to the outfall of the Epstein files, the Rothschild banks are actually losing clients en masse. And there's a great article in the New Yorker, I think it was, about is this the end of the Rothschild banking dynasty because of the Epstein files and nobody wants to do business with them anymore. And I found that very, very interesting because Trump's attack, for people out there who might not be kind of paying attention to what's happening with Venezuela, Cuba, and then Iran, we look at this as the three-legged foundation of Chinese energy stability, right? So right now there's a silent war in the race to artificial superintelligence. I believe that the United States already has it. That's why we're taking these mass risks to do what we're doing. But it's about curbing China's progression towards artificial intelligence, which China, in a sense, has a deep state, and that deep state is controlled by that same system that we were just talking about, this global financial system. And Trump has systematically dismantled a lot of the Belt and Roads Initiative. He's dismantled this energy infrastructure for China that was basically giving them 30% retail priced oil across the globe through Iran and Venezuela. Another part of that is that you have what's known as the Iran terror premium, the British imperial system. We call the old guard, the old British aristocracy, the bloodlines. They controlled the Strait of Hormuz, which then in turn controlled global energy prices. And over the last 47 years, as Donald Trump says multiple different times, and Peter Navarro is the one that did this research, it's a cost of the global population about $33 trillion due to the Iran terror premium, which is basically the Ayatollah coming out and threatening the strait, and then Lloyd's of London will increase the insurance premiums on all the ships that go through the Strait of Hormuz, and that will increase $5 to $15 per price a barrel of oil, and that accumulated over 47 years is about $33 trillion. And so now if you take that into the next level, you have the London bankers that come out with the derivatives markets, and they know that premium is going to increase the next day, so they're going to go out there and place future trades and make themselves mass profits. And this is just control and manipulation of the energy markets. And with the advancements towards artificial intelligence and what's happening with all of that right now, you need the free markets to really rule and dominate, as well as you need the United States kind of under Donald Trump in charge of that market. And this is kind of what we saw with this multifaceted approach with Iran, is that all of these suppliers are now coming, or not suppliers, all of these customers are now coming to the United States of America. And this was I was talking about this a few weeks ago before Trump's China visit. And I said, watch, what's going to happen is he's going to come back and China is going to have energy deals with the United States of America. America, probably over $365 billion worth of energy deals. And sure enough, China is going to be buying energy from the southern states. Are going to be buying energy from the joint collaboration between Russia and the United States in the Arctic, which, if you look at this and you look at military leaders who have talked about the inevitable kinetic war with China over the next 5 years, what Donald Trump is trying to do is create a lose-lose situation for the United States and China, basically bringing about mutually assured economic destruction so that that cannot happen. And one of the methodologies to do that is to get China dependent on U.S. energy, because that also brings down the global energy prices when you have a mass supplier putting that energy out there. But then China cannot go to war necessarily with the United States of America, because if you look at this strategically, last year, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, United Arab Emirates all went under defense cooperation and defense pact agreements with the United States of America, taking in over, I think, $250 billion in a defense package. What does that mean? Is that these are the formation of one of the largest oil suppliers in the Middle East that supply oil to China. About 60% of Chinese oil comes from that region outside of Russia. So Donald Trump has that. Then you got China buying U.S. and Russian oil next. So what does this do? If China ever went into Taiwan or ever incurred a war on the United States of America, he can sanction them through proxy through the Middle East. He can go out there and cut off their supply through the United States. He can shut down, because this is one of the greatest things that he did here with Iran. He shut down the Strait of Hormuz. I think that this is like 32 miles long straight, okay? And he shut it down with the United States Navy with ease. What was that a signal to? That was a signal to Xi Jinping and China about the Strait of Malacca. If you don't know where the Strait of Malacca is over there, Malaysia and Indonesia, that is where all that supply chain for China, all of their food, all of their grain, all of their cattle, all of their oil, they have to flow through there up into China. And that is only about 3.7 miles wide. So if Donald Trump can shut down the Strait of Hormuz, he can shut down the Strait of Malacca. So these are kind of like pre-warning stages that are being placed. And I think Xi Jinping is actually on board with Donald Trump with a lot of this. He understands that you have the Chinese elders within the CCP that are the deep state organization within the CCP, and they are trying to coup Xi Jinping multiple different times. We've seen 3 this year. We saw a few years ago. Remember, Xi Jinping was gone for 2 weeks, and everybody thought that he had gotten couped. This was Jintao behind the process with the other elders trying to overthrow Xi Jinping. And I think Xi Jinping is actually working towards this multipolar world, as well as Putin and Trump, to bring about a real free market that is not controlled and dictated by the central banks and by this controlled economic infrastructure. And this is one of the other reasons why you have Scott Bassett, and then you have Warsh coming in, the Federal Reserve, and they are setting up a whole new economic system in the United States that is going to revamp the the international systems. But right now, what we have is Todd Blanche over there, Blanchet over there at the DOJ, absolutely a wrecking ball. We have the first indictments coming out from Fort Pierce, Florida, with Jason Quinones, Redding Quinones over there against Raul Castro. That's another important part of all of this. But you have Geneva over there, who's coming to the U.S. attorney, taking over the John Brennan, the 2016-2017 ICA investigation, which is going to expand into FISA-gate, Russia. You have multiple different grand juries formed right now in Georgia, Arizona, and I've heard there is some in Colorado, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. I know Wisconsin for sure. Yesterday, a friend of mine told me that the feds had went in and they were visiting all of the election officials in various different counties throughout Wisconsin, trying to subpoena records. And so that was verified with eyes on for that. So we have these grand juries that are all forming about all of this. So what do you have is you have the perfect storm brewing right now. Trump said it's no longer the calm before the storm. We are in the midst of the storm. And what you have right now is you have all of these grand juries that are forming, with timing being precise, I believe, right before the midterms. You have Democrats and Republican rhinos and deep staters that are being primary, that are resigning, that are no longer seeking re-election. We called this and said this exactly was going to happen right before the midterm elections. You have most likely accountability and indictments that are going to happen around around late July, August timeframe, maybe even into September. And all of this is going to be timed precisely before the midterms. I think we're going to come out with a red wave and a supermajority. And this kind of, if you look at what Trump's doing right now, is he's transitioning a lot of his kinetic attacks and he's moving more towards future planning. That is an indication to me that we're moving to the next phase of the plan, that everything is all wrapped up. You just have to go through the motions. And that once we have the supermajority within the House and the Senate, then you begin the implementation phase of really changing America towards this, what I call the 500-year leap. And this is something that I've been an advocate of, and I've been talking about it. If people are following out there with the UAP UFO disclosure, this is surface level stuff and they can't put all this other classified project stuff out there. But what you have is you have something known as the Genesis mission, which is an AI based mission utilizing DoD level artificial intelligences that are integrated through the national laboratories and through the Department of Energy. And they're bringing in 40,000 American scientists in various different fields to basically go through the last 50 years of scientific experimentation, scientific data. All these different papers are thrown in AI, and they're going to try to solve the universe's mysteries with this. In other words, what's really happening is you're taking all of these black SAP projects, the WUSAPs and the USAPs that were operating, reverse engineering various different technologies. You're throwing them into an artificial intelligence, and scientists are going to look as if they discovered it, and it's going to bring about mass innovation, which is going to be a 500-year leap in the next 20 years. And that's the golden age of America that we're all prepping towards. But before that happened is you had to neutralize this kind of grand conspiracy towards a one world government, a new world order that was being headed by the old British imperial system, the deep state, the globalists, which I think is completely dismantled. I mean, they're running away right now, wondering what to do. They're reforming. You just had Mark Carney and Keir Starmer and all these guys meet up in Armenia last week because they need to form their own new world order to just compete with the United States and China now. And then you have Barack Obama and Alex Soros going up there and meeting Mark Carney when he came back. I think that they're still plotting something, but I think the majority of it is that it's already done, and they're in a world of hurt because their system has been completely dismantled. And, by the way, with all these indictments, you're going to see indictments in the 2020 election. You're going to see more indictments coming about with COVID-19, not just Marins, who was indicted. You're going to have Peter Daszak and Ralph Barrick from EcoHealth Alliance. You're probably going to have Anthony Fauci that's going to get indicted off of that. And then, don't forget about the 2018 midterms. We already had the perfect phone call, the impeachment #2, indictments coming out about that. There's probably going to be more from that with the FISA-gate Russia narrative. You have the Senate that's sending criminal referrals from the Clinton Foundation investigations, pay for play. That goes all the way back to 2012 to 2014. And then you have the NGO infrastructure. And right now we're seeing a lot of focus on the NGO infrastructure, SPLC, that just got indicted. This is the one domino that's going to begin to fall to take down all the rest. And, if you look at the diminishing of USAID and the repurposing a lot of those funds, if you look at removing the NGO, the NPO infrastructure from the top level above government and disconnecting that from the global organizations, you have a recipe for America's success, and that's where we're headed right now. I always say that we got 1 foot out of the old door and a foot and a half into the new door, because this is coming up to the wraps right now. At least that's my thoughts. Rapid fire, Juan.
That's love it. Love it. Good job. What are your thoughts, Juan? You want praying for snow out there?
I had muted just so you didn't get wind noise. I sorry about that. I was hoping this day would come when I could announce to the world that I was going to go play with my cars and boats and airplanes and space station and take a break. But I just felt that I had to kind of stay with this. But Josh, you're about 30 years younger than me. I think I could hand the baton to you now, and I can go just relax because you got this. You understand it. It's actually very refreshing to hear so much articulated so precisely, and pull lots of disparate pieces together. Hat tip, man. We when you articulate it the way you do, it helps others to think more clearly and also add into it and build on that and articulate out amongst the hosts. Michael, I'm sure you feel the same way when you have somebody like him on. Other shows that you do are improved because you've kind of got this zone that he's in. It's important. This is how we'll get the country back on track and explain to them what's really been going on. The only other things that I would add is that within the families that are working, teaming together to control the destination of the planet, they're, this old world order trying to be the next world order, portraying themselves as the new world order. These secret handshake groups and clubs are actually on the run right now. What Trump did, he's dismantling their financial systems. He's dismantling their monetary systems that give them leverage into the world to force things to happen and pay people off and like that. Dismantling them on their false science, the whole green thing, peak oil, everything in the world. And then their tools. China is really a tool of the Brits. They haven't ever given up, as Israel is, by the way, also. And so a lot of this going on in the world, it's this hidden hand going back into those royal families. And then their financial relationships. You talk about oil and the Mideast and like that. Well, you got to start the conversation with Arab American Oil Corporation, Aramco, who's the, we understand the Arab side, who's the American side. Well, that's Standard Oil, that's the Rockefellers. And we see other families in the energy side controlling this choke point of energy to the world. The world runs on oil right now, runs on energy, predominantly oil. And so as we move into other energy systems, this is going to morph and change yet again. But there's a period of time for that to fully come through and play through and like that. And so we're at this crisis moment where it's all coming into play. And, we talk about the storm. Let me just add this, that the storm is upon us, but we haven't seen its full strength yet. And I believe where the strength is at its peak is as we get into the arrest. And there's a couple phases of arrest. There's the stuff that'll be done by the Justice Department, but ultimately the worst of the club is going to be the ones that we have to send to Gitmo. And so we'll see some early stuff. I think mid-July, the president and the team want America to get a chance to enjoy their 250th anniversary. But as soon as we get past that, a few days to get home and relax, mid-July, I think it's on. We'll see just wave after wave of actions at the Justice Department, including arrests and disclosures, setting the stage for the bigger stuff, which comes further into the fall. And in the context of these coming elections, the frauds in the primaries, et cetera. And of course, a lot of that stuff that will be discussed during the conference that I have here in mid-June. So I'm glad to hear that you're going to make it because, Josh, there's a lot of people that need to hear you precisely and that I want to introduce you to. And it really is about networking at the event to get you on other shows where folks may not be aware of your work and like that. And I'm looking forward to, making those introductions. So be there, be square.
That's right. That's
Fantastic.
right.
So, I mean, both of you guys, all of us combined, have been, revealing this information. We saw with COVID that unless we're out in front of this information, their plans are going to go forward. So that's why, it's very important for us to, like you guys your gents are incredible with broadcasting what they're about to do. So that just destroys their narrative, destroys the way, they've set everything up. Now, while we're doing this show, we have Nino and Sean Taylor are talking about arrest incoming. So this is more example of all of us combined are really hammering away at them and destroying their narratives. And that's one of the reasons why they're going to be arrested, because we destroy their narratives, we destroy the way they've created their money over time. We're taking it away from them. So outstanding. Good job.
Yeah.
Well, they're
look at the
illusion. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry, Josh.
Yeah, look at the serendipitous beauty of this. July 4th, 2026 is the 250th anniversary of the day that our founding fathers declared independence from the British imperial system. Now, what happened after that? A war incurred, a revolution incurred. Donald Trump is holding off on the timing of the accountability and the arrest until after that date, because it becomes revolutionary symbolically within the time frame and the date. And I've had a lot of conversations with people. I was at an event in Nashville a few weeks ago, and I went outside and I'm talking to this lady who wasn't at the event, and she's like, I voted for Trump and I'm mad because I don't know what's going on, and why can't he just be transparent, and why is he doing this? Why Iran? Why all this? And I said, look, and I explained to her a lot of what we just talked about. And she goes, well, why doesn't he just come out and say that? And I said, because you can't tell the people, you have to show them.
Yeah.
And that's the truth in the matter, is Donald Trump is showing everybody the truth of the world right now.
Well, most of the people that are naysayers, they're not strategists. They don't have that background. They're not holding it against them. But so much of what's occurring here, you got, the gas station attendant going to tell us how to run the free markets and how to deal with royalty and all those secret handshake clubs. Really? Take a deep breath. These are pros. They're really doing a great job. You can find fault all you want on nuances and technique and things like that. But think of any other leader that we've had, or somebody else out in the world, just anywhere, who would have the wherewithal, the stamina, the family to back him up to do what Trump has done. It's that New Yorker, businessman, not taking any guff from anybody and working the deal and all that makes this all possible. And if you had somebody that was any less stamina, focus, resolve, they'd have folded a long time ago under all the pressure. And so I think that, we're being very well served. It may not be clear yet, but down the road, we're going to have a chance to look back and reflect on all these things and realize just how amazing this moment in time was. And by the way, Trump was invited to run. Who invited him? It's not just Trump. And a lot of the work that was done to try and figure out, how do we unwind this mess? How do we get the world back on course and take it back from these monsters? That was years and years, tens of years of gaming out prior work and failures to get to this moment in time. Prayer required. Nobody's ever done and achieved what we're trying to achieve here, but the threat, the risk to the world, to all of us, is so great now, because with AI, with other choke points that are being created outside the normal election system for a world order, unelected leaders taking control of the world, where the ones you elect don't actually have control because they're being managed by families and business relationships and groups, not one or 10, 50, 100 different organizations that are all working in lockstep. They're really hidden families trying to take control of the world for the next 1,000 years, right? And we have this moment to recapture control of the planet for the people. And by the way, America, like it or not, we're the big dog. There's nobody else that can come and do what we're doing. And Trump is the guy that's at the front of that pack. It is still a pack, though. He may be at the front of the pack. It's still a pack. The 200 who invited him to run. And then all the rest of us, Josh, this. I don't have time to be able to do a show like you do, Michael, and to go through all the mechanics, have the guests. So it's because I can come to you, I can come to Anino, I can come to a couple dozen other hosts and share stuff into various. I actually like the mid and smaller audiences where I get to interact with a certain flavor of folks, in those different areas. If you don't do what you do, and other hosts similarly, you're a big dog in the room. Nino's a big dog in the room. We've got other people. Then I can't. I'd be to try and do a show every day. It just wouldn't work, and do the other work that I've got to do. I mean, I got to be on airplanes for 20 hours here shortly. I was on airplanes all this week. I think I flew 11,050 miles in the last 7 days. So, how can you do a show and have some regularity, predictability? It never happened. But other stuff that I'm doing is important to be able to relay, and I get to do it with guys like you. So it's a team effort. Even like the conference, it is a team effort. We're where we're at because we work well together.
Yeah, very good. And I think I saw somewhere that the primaries, the GOP won. It was a clean slate. It's like 36 primaries. That's unheard of.
Yeah.
That's how, like Josh, you said, a blue tsunami. I've been saying blue tsunami. For the first time, we're going to see that in almost a decade or more. It's been predicted, over and over and over again, but it's been stolen. So I think now we're reaching the point where it can no longer be stolen on the level that it has. And who knows, we might not even have to have an executive order that, sends in the military. It looks like, everything's kind of like lining up just right.
Yeah. Well, the only thing I would say, just let me add this real quick, Josh. Trust but verify. There's a lot in motion. And then you have to have a backup for the backup. If you don't have a backup, like, for example, I have a real critical situation right now that is very sensitive. And so we got worked out the basics of a primary, fleshed it out, what has to happen. And then I says, okay, and now I need the backup. Here's the backup. And I says, this is what I propose. And came to some consensus within the group. And then I have one further backup because there better be a backup for the backup. Things can go weird. We do not have the option of not getting it right. So anyway,
so
that's so when we say election, okay, we might have it sorted out. Then again, anything happens, hey, they got weather machines now, right? You got these Democrat snow clowns out there. They're as thin as can be. But what are they praying for? They're praying for snow, man. They're praying for snow. Something that we just don't see coming. Pray for snow, right? They want something that will get them out of this corner that they're in. And who knows that they can't pull something off. You better have a backup for the backup. Yeah. If you got to do a full stop on the vote, if something happens, you can get other people in there because there's a lot of stolen primaries already happened in the country. Let's see how it plays out. People think that everything is exactly regimented. The next thing. No, they make a move, we make a move. There have to be options for the next moves, depending on how this whole thing breaks out. And that's exactly what President Trump and the team are looking at. Anything goes sideways, unusual, they pull a rabbit out of the hat, then we have to be able to respond to it, react to it. So it's going in a good direction this second, far from over.
Correct. 100% agree with you, Juan. And for everybody who maybe has a bad memory, go back to 2020. The preparations for the 2020 election were made all the way back to 2018. Why did George Soros go out there and fund the attorney generals and the secretary of states of various different states? Because he knew they were going to be the decision makers that were going to implement mail-in voting protocols during COVID-19. That's why him and Bill Gates teamed up and bought Mologic and bought various other biopharma companies that were doing research on zoological viruses. And here's the thing is, if they were going to release a bioweapon on the world for the 2020 election to regain power, what will they do to sustain survivability? Because that's what they're fighting for right now, is to survive. But the interesting thing is when we look at everything that's happened, Act Blue under investigation. Here's some numbers for you. RNC currently has $123.9 million of cash on hand. The DNC, $14.4 million with $17.5 million of debt. You just had Governor Mills of Maine drop out of a race because she has no money. So this is really, really important. They're not raising any money. They have no money coming in. Then Donald Trump's victory over the last 2 days, getting Cassidy primaried, getting Massey primaried, you going in and he's endorsing Ken Paxton. This is huge because what it's doing is it's taking down the rhino establishment within the Senate as well as various different sleepers in Congress. So that's clearing the field. But looking at all of his endorsements and they rose up and they all won, that is so huge because it's telling all the FAGA out there, the fake MAGA and all the anti-American firsters who basically disloyal Donald Trump and left and said, oh my God, MAGA's dead. It just gave them a big F you in their face to all of this, because the truth is it's quite the opposite. Now, going into election integrity and infrastructure, Tulsi Gabbard, DNI Tulsi Gabbard, is leading the integrity and infrastructure task force. This is what caused the raid in Puerto Rico that got the Dominion machine, saw the compromise of them, that got the grand jury in Georgia and Fulton County and had the FBI raid. That's why Tulsi was there, because there is foreign interference within those elections. This is why we have the grand jury that's formed in Arizona looking in the Maricopa County. We have one in Wisconsin. We know this. What's going to happen is there's going to be a report that comes out from this probably mid-summer timeframe. Donald Trump has already prepped this report with the executive order for voter ID that he did a few weeks ago. But when this report comes out, it's going to unequivocally state that there is foreign interference in our elections due to compromised voting technology. And from that, I believe Donald Trump's going to move forth with a national emergency on election integrity and infrastructure. And this is what's going to be the nail in the coffin for securing our elections prior to the elections actually happening. So you add all of that stuff up, and this is going to be a red wave.
Well, and again, they're getting backed in a corner. What are they capable of? They want to do all sorts of bizarre things. But remember, Trump, they were going to use gangs. There were going to be doors getting kicked in. People were talking about how we're going to be door to door, street to street, Civil War style fight here in the country over Trump's policies if he got into office. What did he do? In the first minutes after he became president, I had people that were texting me, hey, I just got orders. I've got a report. What did they end up doing? They're going out picking up all the gang members, the leaders, and they got decapitated in the gangs. And then those guys talked and told us where stuff was at. We went out and did some arrests, seizures, things like that, and kind of neutered that gang threat in large measure. Is there other stuff that they have still going? Look what we did Venezuela and Honduras and things like that. We've still got threats out there. The nuke stuff all summer during 2024 up into the election and after. We had the drones all over the country. What were they doing? They were sniffing for nukes. Oh no, it's space alien drones and they're robot drones from China and all that. No, they were looking for the signatures of nuclear weapons. They're also mapping backgrounds because sometimes stuff can give you false positives, hospitals, certain industrial zones, things like that. So they had a comparative thing for analysis to, see if we have a sum of all fears threat coming in. Even the stuff in Iran right now, it's about getting the rest of that material that we haven't got so far under control. Who's running Iran? We'll find out when one of the groups in Iran decides to work a deal to give us the nuclear material that they have, the enriched material that they have, then we'll know who's in charge, and that'll be who Trump blesses. In the meantime, let them wring their hands and call for Nino. So I think we're in a great moment. Still a lot in play. Still drama. The greatest part of the storm is as we get into the arrests. So we're gonna get through the holidays. Everybody gets home from their vacation and expect this go from gale force 2 to 5 or even 6 eventually before it's all done, like the world has never seen. And it's not just here in the US, it's across the planet. Because remember, the elections were stolen not just in America, but in 71 countries plus the United States, according to the people who actually did the mechanical, technical engineering of the election thefts. And by the way, you mentioned something with Xi and China and all that. Basant went to South Korea before Trump even lifted off. Air Force One wasn't taken off till they had worked an agreement. Basant met his counterpart from China in South Korea. And as a result of that meeting, you'll notice that while Trump was in China, who got released from prison? The president of South Korea, who had been impeached and then sent to prison. The same thing they did with Bolsonaro, who we got the movie about coming up. Same thing happened there. And it's what they wanted to do with Trump. And they got shortstopped and didn't get away with it. So
how this all started.
Go ahead.
No, sorry. I was looking at Louis Herms. Keep going. I was looking at Louis Herms. He did a special on Grok, and Grok basically, I was like pulling it up. Grok basically said it was like 50 trillion to 1 that Obama could have won the last election, 2020. It's not over yet.
Over yet? Yeah, you mean Biden? Yeah. Well, no. You actually said it correctly. If Biden was robotically being controlled by Obama, yeah, Obama won the election. So yeah. Anyway, these clowns, they're praying for snow.
Yep.
They're praying for snow in July. Well, they might get that in Argentina. They're not getting that up here in the States. So anyway.
No way.
Well, I have to bounce, and because I've got a flight I've got to hurry get ready for, and they're just about done with my Bentley here, putting a new key for it, and so I got to drive it back out to the country and deposit it. So I will bounce out. But Josh, I look forward to seeing you, Michael, you and Tracy. I'm looking forward to seeing you kids there in Vegas. It's going to be unbelievable, and there's stuff we haven't even announced that I can't announce quite yet, that anybody that's there is going to be like, yeah, that was the one to be at. I think it's going to be an absolute blast. So if there's still some room, I think we opened up a few yesterday when we got it, but we will sell out, and they're, the people that are there going to get a treat.
No doubt. Yeah.
Awesome one.
Thanks, Juan.
And by the way, just so people know, we will live stream it, everything but the movie. So those 2 days, so you can't get there, and I understand that completely. I wish everybody could be there, but you'll get to see what we're seeing and like that. So it's not like it's cut off or exclusive or whatever. But I can't. Yeah, I can live stream it. I can't live stream the food. You're going to miss out. We got great food. That $350 is to cover the expense of 7 full meals while we're there. Not crap. One of the best catering operations in Vegas, and so it'll be great food. Yeah, you'll have a great time if you're able to make it. I think we cut a very. We weren't even doing the movie. We weren't doing the last day's presentation in the evening, and that was the price. I haven't changed it one bit from beginning to end. So everybody has a chance to be there, and we've improved it even for what we originally intended. So be there or be square.
Very good. All right. Thanks, Juan.
All right, for sure. Go get a Tina coin, and we're gonna Tina. Praise the Lord, she's out on January or June 1st, but prayer's still required. And she actually has her Tina.us. Anybody feels so inclined, she's still got to put her life back together. She'll get some big settlement someday, but that could be years from now. And in the meantime, she's still got to function, and it's been brutal for her. So, and the attorneys have done everything they've done for free. We'll get them paid, but it's going to be a while. And anything that can kind of help, some of the attorneys are able to take the hit a little more than others, but they're there for reasons. So anyway, appreciate all of you. Glad you put the show together. Josh, let's talk separately. I'm tied up right now, but while I'm
good,
doing
brother.
transit between flights.
Josh, any final words?
Well, buckle up, people. It's just beginning. Like this is just starting. So we're coming into this time frame right now, end of May, beginning of June. Like I said, is everybody's been waiting for a specific moment. And I think that's the July 4th moment because it's truly revolutionary.
Yeah.
Truly revolutionary. And Trump is a rebel. He loves being revolutionary. So July 4th, I think, is when the festivities begin to kick off. And I mean, think about it, because that's when the 250th birthday festivities kick off, is July 4th. So I think that we're coming up on it right now. We got about another month and a half of prep, and then it's going to happen.
I agree. And it's not going to stop there. It'll take some time to, arrest all these criminals, because it's not just political. There's healthcare and, businesses and all kind of crazy.
Yep.
Lots of people got to go bye-bye. So, yeah. So how can people reach you if they want to?
Yeah, redpills.tv. I make it so easy. redpills.tv. And that's my website. You can find where I'm connected up all over there.
All right. Awesome. And yeah, I mean, just a few days ago, we're like, talking about, wow, wouldn't it be great to have you and Juan together? And there you go. So
Perfect.
great time. You guys rock. You're the future. You're going to be a Juan O'Savin in the future. So I look forward to it.
Appreciate
Thanks
you guys.
a lot. All right.